Hi, it's Tina Sibley here, and I'm going to show you how you can set up an automated lead generation system in your business. Okay, so here's the two biggest time wasters. Trying to get people to schedule a sales conversation with you in the first place. That's really, really difficult. Lots of people spend hours and hours on social media, doing Facebook Lives, and all sorts of manner of prospecting to try and get people to have a sales conversation. The second biggest time waster is then you spend loads and loads of time talking to people who aren't yet ready or able to proceed. So you get to the end of your 30, 45 minutes or 60-minute consultation with them and they just don't go ahead for whatever reason they give you. So you're wasting not only your time but theirs, and it eats up an absolute incredible amount of time, stopping you from going on and doing other things. So what if you could have a fully automated system to fill your diary only with people who want what you have to offer and are ready and able to proceed now? The only thing you need to determine is, are you a good fit for each other? Well, the good news is that you can. Let me show you how it works. So what you want is an automated system that first of all drives traffic to an automated webinar. Okay, now this is the magic and the gold, which I'm going to explain a little bit more in a tick. But then what you want is an automated booking system that allows them to schedule an appointment with you, but they have to meet certain criteria. And then you need to have a follow-up system so that if they don't actually book after the webinar, that you are reminding them and persuading them and giving them every reason to actually schedule that call with you. So how does it work? Well, first of all, the big kind of magic and gold nugget in this is what I call the webinar machine. And the webinar is actually a money-making machine if you do it right. Webinars are cited as the best way to promote your offers, your services and your products by pretty much anybody who's been successful online. As I've said, done right, they are a predictable money-making machine. However, 90% plus of webinars are doomed to fail because there are so many moving parts and so many places where it can go wrong. So where are you right now on webinars? Rate yourself, with 1 being low and 10 being high. Rate yourself on the results that you've been getting from your webinars up till now. Or if you've not been doing them before, the level of confidence you have about running a profitable webinar. So if you're watching this, you probably want to make a difference to other people. And at the same time, you want to increase your income. Two really good reasons to be in business. But if you're watching this, you may have discovered that you've reached the time imposed ceiling. You're doing pretty well, but all of a sudden now you're finding it really difficult to get any further because you just don't have enough time, because you're spending a lot of time chasing people, trying to get them to talk to you, and then talking to people who are not ready to go ahead. What that means is you don't get enough time with your loved ones or to have fun. You may know that webinars are where it's at, and you may want to run a webinar but don't have the time or knowledge in how to do it. You perhaps do run webinars but then just not performing the way that you'd like them to, and all of this means that you're just not able to upscale your business from where you are now. So what you want instead is to scale your business, but here's the thing, without burning yourself and putting loads and loads of extra time and hours into your business. You want to make a bigger difference to more people, but at the same time you want to have more time freedom for yourself so that you become a true role model and even more attractive to other people to work with you. So what you want is a fully automated system to completely fill your diary, but only end up talking to the people who are wanting what you've got, ready, willing, and able to proceed right now. So how does this work? Well, what you want, first of all, is the ability to run profitable webinars, but then there's a little bit more to it than that. Okay, let's have a look at the webinar side of things first. So with a webinar, you need to get good at all of these parts of it. First of all, you need to know how to run traffic to it. Then you need to make sure that of the visitors who come to your registration page, you need to know how many are registering, because if you're getting loads of visitors but they're not registering, there is work to be done on the registration page itself, maybe even with the targeting to make sure that you're putting the right people on your registration page. Then you want to make sure that of the people who register, a good number of those are actually attending and watching the webinar, or at the very least watching the replay. Then of those people who actually do watch the webinar, you want to make sure that they're staying to the end. If they drop out halfway through or at the beginning of the webinar, then there's work to be done on the presentation side of it. Now, I get really great results with my webinars. I get a good 75% plus of people staying to the end, and my conversion rates are 50% or more, as long as I've got the right people coming in the front end. Obviously, of the ones who do stay to the end and see your offer, you then got to look at how many actually buy your product or book a consultation with you. So there's lots of work to be done here on getting all of this right. Now, once you know that you've got a good, consistent conversion rate at all of these parts of the process, all you have to do is put the traffic in at the front end, and you will get a predictable amount of money coming out the back end. That's why I call it a money-making machine. It's exactly that, and it's predictable. But there's a lot to it, okay? Yes, you have to set up your registration page. You have to look at the thank you page. You have to look at, well, how can I get this more viral by using share incentives? Then you've got the event page itself, and that's all got to be set up. And there are things on the event page that can really help people to take that next step. You've got all the pre-webinar emails and reminders, and this is key to actually getting people to show up after they've registered. Obviously, like I've said, you've got the actual webinar presentation itself. You need to make sure you have the right script. You need to know what you're saying and how to use all the psychological levers, but without bullshitting people, without using trickery and manipulation. Obviously, you need to have the slides right that go with that, and then to get it, recorded. You need then what happens after the webinar. You've got all the post-webinar emails reminding them. And the follow-up emails are huge. This is a really big part of it. Plus, then you need to, think about things again which are going to really help people to attend and take action. Like, for example, a workbook, pre-webinar goodies. You need to make sure your offer is right, your sales page is right, or the next step, the call to action to book a consultation with you right, all of that kind of thing. And then, of course, once you've got all that right, you need to put traffic in at the front end, usually done by Facebook ads. They're a really good way of doing it. But that's just where it begins. Like I said, the profit is in the follow-up. And you need to have something which is super, super intelligent. You need to have something that is going to be different depending on different behavior. For example, after they've registered, did they show up or didn't they show up? If they did show up, did they stay to the end or not? If they did stay to the end and saw your offer, did they take action or not? So you want a different follow-up process which takes into account all of the different scenarios, and also where they are in your current funnel. Are they brand new to you? Have they never heard from you before? Or are they already existing customers at some point? Okay, so all of this is really important to consider. Now, do you onboard via a one-to-one conversation? If you do, then what you need is to have this step fully automated. Again, you do not want to be wasting time talking to people who are not ready to go ahead. You've done a lot of work here getting people to this stage, but you still don't want to waste time talking to people who are not ready. Now, obviously, the webinar presentation itself will help people to self-select and determine if they're ready to take that next step with you. It's time to get serious. What you then need to do is have some kind of booking system, some kind of automation where there is a questionnaire involved so that people do book, and then all you've got to do is look at the application forms that that people have put in once you've got the appointment in your diary and go, yeah, I want to talk to them, yes, I want to talk to them, hell no, I don't want to talk to those, and then you cancel it. and then you send them a nice little email redirecting them to something more appropriate, like a self-study course, or join your Facebook group or something like that. So it's time for you to get serious. Do you want some help with all of this? And when are you going to do it? I mean, you're going to wait until the time is right, because let me tell you now, the time will never be right. Okay, time to do this is right now. What difference will it make to you to save all that time chasing people down and talking to people who are not ready to proceed? Yeah. What difference will it make to you to be able to automate your system? Yeah. What is your time worth? Whether that's actual, hourly rate time, or just time, spending time with your family and your loved ones. What is that worth? Okay. So here are the options. Number one, you can figure all of this out yourself, or you can do it with my guidance. I do work with a small amount of people on a one-to-one basis, where I guide them through the process of putting all of this together themselves. Option three, okay, if you are stacked out with time already, this is probably the best option, okay, because you don't have time to set it all up yourself. You don't have time to learn how to do it. You don't have time to spend hours figuring it out and then, actually putting the whole thing into place. So why not allow me to do it for you? I can make sure that I set all of this part up, everything from the visitors to the buy and the book stage, and the follow-up process as well. If you want help with the ad side of things, then we can talk about that, and I can put you in touch with somebody who can get that side of things done for you as well. A lot of people, though, are really good at the ad side of things, but they don't have the rest of the process. So let's have a conversation about what parts you need to have absolutely taken care of for you. You know, that makes sense. So what I'd like to do is to invite you to have a conversation with me. If you think that this is going to really help you in your business, if you think that it's a good idea to stop wasting time chasing clients down, stop wasting time talking to people who are not ready, and you'd like to have this all set up for you, or my guidance to help you proceed, then let's have that conversation. For example, let me tell you the difference it can make. Hector was about to shut down his webinar. In fact, he had shut it down because it just wasn't converting. We ended up having a conversation, and he just turned it around within 2 months, and he had his first $10,000 month in course sales from the new webinar, following my help and suggestions. I mean, this is the kind of thing that we can do. So if you're ready to have that complete system fully automated, then what we're looking at is the traffic, the automated webinar, the booking system, and the follow-up system, all done for you, all taken care of. Then let's have that conversation. There are multiple buttons on this web page where you can just schedule a conversation. So let's talk, and I look forward to seeing you and seeing the results it can have in your business.